say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Michelle Pfeiffer? The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's time. Let's talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff.
Good evening to one and all, and welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, well, you've come to the right place. So this evening, I'm super excited. We are going to be talking about Star Trek, and I have got a great group of people to join us in that conversation. So let me go ahead and bring them on board as well. So we've got, let's go clockwise. I'll start. We've got Steve Tevis. And Steve, for those folks who may not recognize that name, Steve is the genius behind the Life and Sad Ending channel. So yes, one of my favorite channels. I've always enjoyed watching his videos, and I am just super excited to have him on the live stream with us this evening. Also, I've got Ian C., my friend from down in southern Utah. And he's always a treat to have with us as well. He has a channel called Retro Serial, and we'll talk about these channels as we later on in the live stream. Working my way around clockwise, we've got Jack from Crazy Hank TV. Good to have you here, sir. And last but not least, Pat McCormick, Golden Rage of Television. Always wonderful to have Pat here. And his sunny personality certainly adds something to the live stream. So great to have you all with me, gentlemen. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get going too far, let me go ahead and say hello to some of the folks that are in the chat. We've got Kevin Connor, who dropped a super sticker, very first thing. Thank you so much, Kevin. Truly, truly appreciate your support. You know, they say, I've always heard good things about Canadians, and that certainly holds true for Kevin Connor there. So thank you, sir. Kenneth Wilkinson is here as well. Daryl Johnston's here. Super fan. Lance Chafin is here as well. Welcome, Lance. Good to have you here on the stream. Let's see who else is here. Lots of chat going on. I love seeing the chat, the interaction between community members, even when we're not live beforehand. That's wonderful. Ed Myers is here as well. Let's see who else is here. Scarlet Red Magic. Always fun to read her comments in the videos. Kevin says, I guess I'll be the red shirt. No, you don't have to be. You do not absolutely have to be the red shirt. Speaking of shirts, I'm going to show my shirt tonight. It's available for sale right next to all of my videos, but Floyd's Barbershop shirt. And there is a Star Trek connection, and I'll share that a little bit later. Let's see what else we got going. DJ Mexicano de Texas, always great to have you with us on the live stream. And I certainly hope I don't miss anybody, but I'm going to keep moving through, scrolling quickly. Tom Lavelle, always a treat to have you here. Yes, it is an awesome subject tonight. I am super excited to engage these guys and all of you in the conversation. Star Trek is, quite frankly, the original series is one of my 3 favorite television programs, along with the Andy Griffith Show and Batman 66. So lots of fun tonight. Let's see. We've got J. Robert Sergertson. Good to have you here. And super fan Spike Spikerson. is in the house. So great to have you here, sir. Let me keep scrolling here. There's a lot of people in the chat. I'm just losing. Al Oduarte's here. Welcome, Al. So good to have you here. Elf Dog 100. Well, we are live now. That was a while ago. Let's see who else. Raja 1938. I don't think I've said hello to you. And Dolph Quick. Always a treat to have you in the live stream. And my good friend Christopher Kraft from Southern California. So great to have you with us on the live stream tonight. Mr. 79 Man. I think Mr. 79 Man, didn't he hit your live stream on Monday, Ian?
Oh yeah. He participated. Sent in a bunch of great comments. It was awesome to have him.
Hey, you guys, just in case, I don't know if you know this, but Ian has every Monday night now, right, Ian?
Yeah, except for this week, I'm going to be doing it on Tuesday. And the reason why is I'm having Dr. Brian McDonald on the show. We're going to be talking about role-playing games and whatever else we want to talk about. He's been on my show 3 times now, and so I wanted to have him on the live chat, but he could only make it on Tuesday. So mostly it's Mondays, except for if a guest has to do it on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Makes total sense. We have to be flexible sometimes, particularly when we have great guests that are coming on board. So that's awesome. I can't wait to catch that live stream. I'll do my best to make it to that one next week, Ian. But typically Monday nights, 6:30 Mountain Time is when Ian goes live. Georgia Ayers, so good to have you here this evening. Long time community member. Such a treat to have you in the chat. And super fan Tracy Rothmeyers. Again, I saw lots of interaction from Tracy on Monday evening in your live stream.
Hi, Tracy.
Yep.
Yeah, we love having Tracy as part of our community. Nancy D, welcome. Amethyst Ann, welcome as well. Custom God says, hey, Dave, this will be an awesome show. I love Star Trek. I think we all do. I really do. Matt Sweeney, good to have you here. Let's see, David Thomas. Not the Dave Thomas, but David Thomas is here as well. Lena Zagby, welcome. So good to have you here. You know what? Just saying Dave Thomas makes me a little bit hungry for Wendy's. Andrew Fisher, good to have you here as well. I said hi to Al Duarte already, I think. But if I didn't, there you go. Okay, superfan John Collins says, Dave, a few days ago, spent hours trimming my YouTube list. In doing so, I realized that there's a big difference in YouTube channels and communities. That is so very true. So very true. We have there are channels and there are communities, and I am very blessed to have a wonderful community that gathers around the videos when I drop them. So great comment, John Collins. And as always, sir, thank you for your interaction and your support. DOAV 2.0, welcome. Doing great. Hope you're doing as well. And Tom, a.k.a. Hungry Jerk, good to have you here. Mr. Ladd, he says hi to you, Pat.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Well,
Lee Banning's here.
Typing, that's what I meant, yeah.
Be Ready's here. I can't pronounce that one. Ardu Quet. We're just going to go with that. I might just call you RDU going forward. Michael Tuz, Echoes Guz, my friend Justin, who just did a video with me on the Serious Side of Three's Company. Justin, I think I sent you the invite for this, buddy. You can be on screen anytime you want to, my friend. Miriam Smith, let's see. Thank you for joining us this evening. I think I've probably, nope. There's more. We've got Dapper Canuck, Jimmy Banthrall, and I think we're getting pretty close. Jay Elsner, Little Wing. Oh, my goodness. Paul Rotter's here. That's a treat. And let's see, anyone else Magic Pod, Megapodtastic. Love that username. That's an awesome username. Thomas Kelly. Yes, you can't miss this one, Thomas. I know what a Trek fan you are. Let's see. Jimmy Banthrall says, I watched Star Trek as a teen. You know, I think we all did probably. That's where for me, I was too young to catch the initial first run of Star Trek. I'm not going to say what network because it's part of the trivia questions, but the initial first run. But I sure caught it a lot on syndication. And then there was the animated series too in the 70s that I really, really enjoyed. All right. Yeah. David Thomas says, I'm not the Wendy's guy. I know. He's actually the Wendy's guy has left us. He's left the building. James 328 says, I'm a lifelong fan of Trek since I was 2, started with the original series. Yep. Lee Banning asks, how many Star Trek DVDs or Blu-rays do you guys or gals have? Any of you guys have the collections? I will confess I don't, because it's always been readily available to watch on TV.
I've only got the movies, the new movies, the reboots on DVD. So I don't know if that counts or not, or if that's blasphemy in some circles.
Anyone else own episodes on VHS or DVD or Blu-ray?
Oh no! We do have some in the house though, because I bought them for my stepdaughter, all 3 seasons, and it was the one that looks like the. Oh, I forgot the name of it. It looks like a prop from the show.
The Enterprise.
Yeah, no, I had a box set that was the Delta symbol. This was right when they started coming out with high definition discs. It was prior to Blu-ray, so I have those. Don't ever watch them because, it's all readily available, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of DVD players out there, at least in my home, dying to be used. So, yeah.
That's the weird thing is, and I do occasionally still pick up something on DVD, but it's Trek. All iterations of Trek is so readily available on television, through streaming or even over the air on MeTV or HNI. So I haven't had to, I haven't felt the need. But on those DVDs that I've purchased, I got to admit, Pat, I wonder if any of you guys feel the same way I do. I'm just too lazy to pull out the DVD and plug it into the machine. I just click with my remote and kind of stick with whatever it's going to give me.
Well, there's something to that community feel like you were just mentioning, Dave. I used to love when out of the blue there would be a Star Trek marathon that would come on TV, regular TV.
Those were great.
Not expected because I'm not a listings looker, but there it would be, and it would be all day. And what was great about it was I felt like I wasn't watching it alone. I was actually enjoying this with a mass group of people, and that made it all different for me. It made it next to impossible for me to go, and now I'm going to watch this episode. I have another side story to what Star Trek did for me in my Hollywood days that I did it that way, and boy, did it save me. But besides that, no, I like we were saying, it's really tough to just pull that DVD player out and go, okay, I'm going to watch season 2, episode number 13.
That's right.
Somebody will tell me what that is right now, I'm sure. But anyway.
Hey, before we get too far into this, I got to say thank you to Lance Chafin, super fan Lance Chafin, for the super sticker. Very, very kind of you. And again, I'm gonna put a stop to John Collins, super fan John Collins, who let me see if I can scroll down here and find his question, or it's a comment here, but a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Like I said, you are now. You're in the penalty box, John. No more super chats for the evening. My favorite Star Trek, he says, is The Next Generation because what turned out to be an all-star cast. I especially enjoyed the holodeck, Q, LeVar Burton, and Whoopi Goldberg. Well, that's, what, let me do this really quick. Let me share, see how we can do this. Let's click this. I'm cutting someone off. So, John, I want to leave that comment on for a second, but we're covering Pat. So I'm going to, Pat, my apologies to you for a moment while we move forward. Let me do this. John Collins has just said what his favorite version of Star Trek is, but let me go back, excuse me, guys. Let me ask each one of you what your favorite version of Star Trek is as well. So we'll start right at the top. And Steve, do you have a favorite version of Trek?
Well, of course I do. And that would be the original episodes. Well, I think there were 69 or something like that back in the 60s. And I'm probably one of the few here that actually remember watching them, the original run, because of my advanced age.
Well, I wouldn't think you're much older than me, but maybe a year or two would give you that edge in terms of catching it live. Because in my head, I can remember some television, some primetime television, like 69, 70-ish, somewhere around that time range.
Yeah.
So if you're 3 or 4 years older than me, then you would probably remember some Trek as well. So do you remember any of the, like, from what I understand, there was quite a bit of a fan following, although the ratings were never like through the roof for Trek. Do you remember any of that?
Well, it was just, I was young. It just was another show.
Yeah.
And there were many, many shows. I Dream of Jeannie. I mean, the list is endless. But Trek stood out because you had the camaraderie of Bones and Nimoy, and it was just a buddy thing, and as a young kid, I really loved that.
Yeah, I did too. That dynamic between the three main characters on the show, and I hate to call them the main characters because the whole cast was so darn good, but that camaraderie,
don't leave out Scotty.
Yeah, exactly. But the camaraderie there between the three of those guys was just phenomenal. Ian, how about you? A favorite version of Trek?
Well, when I was really little, the original series would be in syndication, but I was a little too young, when it was out, at least when I was seeing it, and so it didn't really catch my attention until I got older, and then I started watching it again and found, well, this is really good, but. My delve into Star Trek was on the Fox network with the Next Generation because I was, 14, 15 when it came out, and I loved it. And I was there devouring the episodes. And of course, that was my gateway drug into all the other emanations of Star Trek and going back into the original series. So, but for me, the real landmark is, when you're of age and you're kind of learning about the world and stuff. So yeah, the Next Generation was where I really found my love for Star Trek.
You know what? I remember when that version of Star Trek came out, it was, after the original series, it was the next one, right? And I remember being pretty darn skeptical about that show. And boy, did it win me over. Boy, that was just, what a wonderful show. Jack, you're up next. Favorite version of Trek?
Well, like Steve, I'm old enough to remember the originals. I remember watching them, but I don't remember too much about it. It was more in syndication when I'd watch it over and over and over again. And looking back on it, what made it so good, the original, is back then the United States was fighting everybody. Right, we were at war with everybody, and they had a cast that made up of the entire, planet. I mean, it was just, you had Russians, you had everybody on there, and that's a big risk. I didn't think about it when I was a kid, but looking back on it, that's a big deal, I think.
Absolutely. Pat, how about you? What version? I'm jumping the gun here. What version of Trek is your favorite?
Well, it's the original series. With the Next Generation, a very close second. But I was born in 1963, which actually does make me an official boomer. What helped was I had older siblings, much older. As a matter of fact, my oldest brother is 15 years older than me, and he loved television. He was big on it. And so there was Star Trek in 1967 on my home TV set. And I remember distinctly trying to figure out which point of light the Enterprise was that was coming towards me. By the time it came by me, I had no idea which And it was just whoosh, there it went. Okay, I'm going to get it the next time. I'm going to get it the next time. And I'd never find it. So that was the thing that I remember as a very young man, but also being a young man, being terrified of Spock. It just, that made no sense to me. Why does that guy have ears like that? I don't like this. And I was scared of it.
You know,
later, I loved it, but well, it was 20 years. I think about 20 years later before I re-gravitated towards it from the same brother. And there was Shorely. Boom. There's an episode for you, kid. You got to sit down and watch this. And I was blown away. Ever since, huge Trekker. That's me.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned being a little bit terrified of Spock. It was actually one of the network's concerns when they originally looked at the show was they had concerns about Nimoy and those ears because they thought he looked evil and satanic. And some of the network executives were, making suggestions to Roddenberry that he had to figure out a way to kind of soften Spock's look. And I'm sure glad they didn't.
No, it definitely, that was the intrigue. It was mystery to me. What was that? And then, of course, when we saw it again, it was like, oh, that's what that was. Not realizing just how well written this show was, and that you have to be older to understand that concept. But anyway.
Hey, there's another super chat I need to get to here real quick. Actually, it looks like there might be a couple here. Paul Rotter says favorite bad guy was Kor, played by John Colicos. Anybody remember the other bad guy that John Colicos played? Not in Star Trek, in another science fiction epic. He was Baltar in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So favorite bad guy for me too, Paul. And not only are we in agreement, but I am extremely appreciative for the support in the super chat. Clinton Watkins says, I hated TNG at first. Then I watched, not expecting the same show, and have been hooked ever since. I think that's really the key. I mean, it was a different show, but what it captured, perhaps maybe even more, I think Roddenberry said this, more than the original series, was the idea that Roddenberry had about humanity and peaceful coexistence with other species and all of these concepts that he had tried to bring to the original show, I think successfully, but he felt that TNG did it even better. And to a certain extent, I agree with that comment of Roddenberry's, although I'm going to go with a lot of you guys and say that the original version of the show is my favorite. But Clinton, thanks for the comment, and thank you so much for the support. Let's do this real quick here. Let's get rid of Clinton's comments so that we can still see Pat. And I got to show everybody this, Pat. Pat shared this with me a few days ago, and talking, I think he knew we were going to be having this or did you?
No,
the conversation.
This is a coincidence. I just decided I'd get photographs of some of the stuff that I'd had put away. Some of it I'm looking at trying to resell, but I was just kind of cataloging. And then Dave, you were like, hey, Ann, I'm doing it on this. So that was why I went, I gotta send him these pictures that I just took. So that's what you're seeing there.
Man, that is a good looking collection of Trek memorabilia, my friend. And those are some, I'm guessing on those cards there, those are some original signatures.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they are. Kind of fading. I'm really bummed that the Nimoy one is almost faded to nothing. So I'm keeping those for sentimental reasons more than anything. And getting William Campbell's that was golden.
That's huge. Yeah. Let me ask you this about that pack of Star Trek the Motion Picture trading cards. Have you opened it up and resealed it, or is it completely sealed?
It is completely sealed. Wow. Mint condition, gum like cement. Mm-hmm. Yep, there's gum in there. Dying to chew it. Not really.
There's part of me, because I've seen some unwrappings. People do videos of like old trading cards, whether it's sports or memorabilia or entertainment properties. And they do these, kind of like like a box opening. I'm drawing a blank on the right word for that, but, and they open up the package, and I'm kind of curious to what the bubble gum might taste like after 30, 35, 40 years.
Like it did in the beginning.
And mind you, that's just a small portion. I actually have quite a bit more. And I was telling Dave a little earlier, my ornament collection, Hallmark specifically, I've pretty much bought every year since they came out, except for the first year, which of course that's the most valuable ornament that there is. So I got all the other ones. But it's amazing how they've stuck with that show as part of their Hallmark tradition. So you'll always see new Star Trek. They're always revisiting it. And I mean, their ornaments are getting outrageously flamboyant, technically. I mean, just incredible stuff there. So anyway, enough of my jabbering.
Well, I love your jabbering, Pat. Thanks so much for sharing with us.
Did you guys ever see the movie Trekkies? Did you ever see that documentary?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some time ago, yes.
Yeah, it was a really good one. One of the people on the show, I forgot his name. His first name was Gabriel, and he was one of the featured guests on the show. But he was on a show called Beat the Geeks. Did you guys ever see that show, Beat the Geeks? Where they would have a panel of well, it was really good. It was on Comedy Central. They had a panel of professional geeks and then regular people, and they would play trivia. And he was that kid. His name was, I remember his first name was Gabriel, but he was a huge Trekkie. He knew all the information. He was on the show, and he used to be because they'd have a specialty geek every week, so they had like a Star Wars geek or a Star Trek geek or a Friends geek or something like that. And then there was the TV, the music and stuff. But yeah, he was on there, and he just would clean house. Nobody could beat that guy when he was on there when they do Star Trek questions.
That's awesome.
I'd give him a run for his money, I think.
You might remember him from the show Trekkies, because it was a really good show, and it was and his name I remember his first name's Gabriel, but he's one of the people that they follow, and they talk about his collection and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun.
So I asked the community the same question a couple days ago, and we've got about 2,000 votes, healthy participation within the community. And I asked them which live action TV version of Trek is your favorite. And as you can see, I think we are all kind of the a similar mindset, although we all have a great deal of respect for all, at least I do, all of the iterations of Trek, and especially Next Generation. The original series is exactly that, the original series. And for that reason, it is hands down the favorite of the community members as well.
These people, they've taken what was a lark and turned it into a colossal waste of time.
Did you see Tracy posted that in the comments? It's a great quote from Shatner. Love it. Love it. Let's see. I got a super chat I need to get to. You know what? Someone's not paying attention to the rules. I don't know what to do with my friend John Collins, super fan John Collins. Always a treat to have you as part of the
Checks in the mail, John. Checks in the mail, buddy.
Does John Collins get a thank you very much? No, nothing.
You know what? We've had a lot of super chats so far. So let me throw something out there here. This is for John and for everyone else. You know what? I know that I've got Pat on, and he bristles when I pull Lawrence Welk out. So I've got to come up with something. I love that one. That's the best one.
Cry.
I've got to come up with something else. So let's let the king of rock and roll, deliver the message to everybody for their support.
Thank you very much. 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 Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was good.
There we go. Not quite Lawrence Welk, and I'm with you, Steve. I actually like the Lawrence Welk one better.
It's fantastic.
We'll save it for later, and Pat can step away and get a drink or something. I'll give you fair warning, Pat, when that moment happens.
Technical difficulties. What's going on?
That's like what happens with the Enterprise there, that shaking. Isn't that what they did with the cameras whenever they were hit? Yeah, exactly.
Hey, listen, while we're still on Elvis, I have a question. Anybody else here actually ever see Elvis in person? Because this guy did.
Okay, so here's the deal. Normally, I would just move along and move on to my next question for Star Trek. But anytime someone says they met the king of rock and roll,
I didn't meet him. I was at an Elvis concert.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hear a little bit about this, Steve, though, because that's pretty big.
It was in Kentucky in 1976. Long story short, Elvis has left the building.
Oh, how did you feel about the performance?
Well, at the time, he was very much viewed as an over-the-hill fat has-been. But yet he still filled the arenas.
Right.
This was at Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. And I think it was July 23rd of 76. So he only had about another year to go. And he was heavy, but he was great, of course. I mean, Elvis Presley, know.
Yeah. Did he still have? I remember seeing images of him and during the last few years of his life, and you're right, he was heavy but how was the performance energetic wise? Did he wow the crowd, or was it one of those where you guys walked away a little disappointed?
No, it's always a short show. It was short with the Beatles too, but Elvis did this thing in the middle of the show. He had a kind of a hit record at the time called "Hurt." And he sang "Hurt," and then when he got finished, he says, "You want to hear it again?" And then he would sing the whole song again, right in the middle of the show.
That kind of reminds me. I saw Neil Diamond a few years ago, probably 6-7 years ago now, and we got to the point where he sang "Sweet Caroline," and there's that whole audience bit where everybody goes, and we probably sang that chorus for 10 to 15 minutes. and my wife looked at me. I bought the tickets for her because I thought she was something of a Neil Diamond fan. Turns out she really wasn't. But my wife looked at me and she said, "How much longer can this song go on?"
She's not so sweet anymore.
All right. So, hey, let me go back to one more question before we take a break for a couple of Trek commercials and some trivia. But let me throw this question out here if I can. And that is, what is your favorite episode of Trek? And this time I'm going to start from bottom up to give Steve plenty of time to think about it. Pat, you're on.
Oh, it was This Side of Paradise. I just thought it was so brilliantly written. Where one of the great things about the show was that they weren't stuck on just being interior shots. They used exterior and 35 millimeter film, a lot. I mean, most of the show was shot like that. So it always had that real high quality to it. That one, that and Shore Leave both made me go, wow, this isn't a TV show. This is a movie. And then of course you get into the storyline of it, where the spores are making people lethargic or crazy, or in Spock's case, horny. And I'm thinking, this one is my favorite because then Kirk and Spock have to duke it out in the transporter room. And I mean, what's better than that? When he starts talking about his mom and how he should be in a carnival right next to the dog-faced boy. That's brutal, but really so fun to watch. So yeah, that was my favorite.
All right, Jack.
Charles Bronson. Actually, what was his wife's name? Charles Bronson's wife. was
Jill Ireland.
Yeah.
Jill Ireland. Yeah. That was
yeah.
the other thing I remember.
Yeah. Remember that well. Yep.
Yeah.
Jack, you're up.
Mine's more a sentimental reason because my dad was a guy that didn't watch TV. He watched sports. He listened to sports on the radio. And I remember, this had to be maybe 50 years ago, 45, whatever. It was a long time ago. He sat down with me when I was watching is it Trebles?
Yeah.
Little furry
Trouble
thing.
with Tribbles?
Tribbles, yeah. And he just sat there and complained about it the whole time. And I just said, "Well, Dad, it's make believe. So I will always remember that episode. I like the episode anyway, but I always remember it because he just sat there and complained, and because he wouldn't sit unless it was sports. He wouldn't sit down and watch TV. He watched that episode with me. Did nothing but complain. So yeah, that's my favorite episode.
You've got a special memory of your dad and that episode of Trek. That's awesome. It probably, I mean, a lot of people like The Trouble with Tribbles, and but to me, that's not one of the stronger episodes. And I might have if I wanted to find something to complain about, I could probably figure a few things on that episode as well. I love this. This comment from Stardust Memory says his or her or their favorite episode is the one where the guy in the red shirt gets off.
Which one was that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite character, though.
Red shirt guy. Ian, you're up.
Well, I made a joke recently about Tribbles because we collect plastic bags from the grocery store like they're Tribbles. And I pulled out I was cleaning out my shelf and I was cleaning out the cupboard and I just pulled a whole bunch of them out. And they were like all in these little balls, these little plastic balls. I'm like, we collect these things. They're like Tribbles. Everybody in the house laughed. So that was a fun joke. On the Next Generation, I'm about the same age as Will Wheaton. And so anytime they kind of featured him, I was really drawn into it. And I don't remember the name of the show, but there was one show where they were disputing over basically it was drugs. And they were like, no, we need this to survive. One of the people is like, well, no, we need this to survive. And they're like, these guys are acting more like druggies than they are like this is a survival thing. And they were explaining to Will Wheaton, who didn't have a clue about drugs, that, you take drugs at the beginning to feel good, and then pretty soon you take them so you don't have to feel bad. And he says, well, I just don't understand. And then the lady, the blonde lady who got killed off, said, I hope you never do. And that was one of those more memorable episodes for me, just connecting with Will Wheaton at that point.
Yeah, great episode.
It is a great episode.
And that's what got me into cocaine.
No. Come on, man.
I'm just kidding.
Board too. It was Riker. Oh boy, I was at the number one. Hey, look what I found on this planet. Just look at me.
Steve, your turn, my friend.
Well, I'm not a Trek expert, but I do know that when it came to the top of my head, when you mentioned it to me, Dave, was Tholian Web.
Oh yeah.
Where they have the ship and they keep crisscrossing with these webs around the whole thing, And I want to ask you, is that the one where they use the Corbinite maneuver?
No.
No, that's that's another one. See, I'm getting them mixed up. They should have just combined them.
I'm glad Pat's here to answer that question because I couldn't remember. So is that the Romulans that were doing the web weaving thing?
No, the Triskelions, I believe is what they call them. Triskelions, or
of course,
somebody else. They were an alien race that was, man, they were gnarly. You didn't want to be anywhere near those guys because they were just putting off burning energy. And they looked like Egyptian pharaohs. I remember that. But of course, they were no match for the Enterprise. That is until they started building the web.
Right.
And of course, that was one where they were in that portion of space where things were fading out. Things were blinking off. They had lost Captain Kirk in that episode. They were ready to say, okay, he's dead. And then, of course, he's ghostly images coming back. And so that was a good one. Corbomite was great, too, because it was such a psychological thriller. But Tholian is definitely one of my favorite episodes. So yeah, that was a good call for sure.
Good.
Great episodes, one and all. I guess I'm not surprised. Star Trek had so many strong episodes that it's hard to disagree with any of those. And yet the one that's my favorite, no one has mentioned, which is The City on the Edge of Forever, which is it's maybe not. It starred guest starred Joan Collins, but the episode was written by Harlan Ellison. I've actually read the original screenplay, which is dramatically different, and the censors had a good time with that screenplay before it made it to television, and there were a lot of changes to it. But really great episode. One where Kirk realizes they go back to World War II era Earth.
Oh yeah,
they're transported, and Kirk has a relationship with a woman named Edith Killer, and he realizes that for time not to change, for things not to play out differently, he has to let her die. Otherwise, the Nazis end up building a nuclear bomb and winning the war. And it's a great episode. Shatner, I've always felt, he can be a bit of a ham. There's I get it.
No.
William Shatner is a character in and of himself, right? He's but I really feel like that episode really, for me, it was when I recognized what a great character Kirk was. Not that there are many episodes were, but that one was really well done and one of my favorites. And then I have to mention, I'm cheating, I'm going to share one more. Any episode with Harcourt, Fenton, Mudd in it. Mudd's women.
Oh yeah,
I Mudd. I love that dude. He's just one of my favorite characters in the show. So have to mention that as well.
That was a great pick. I
forgot
about that. That's the one where they jump through the portal in slow motion.
Yes,
that is so good. You're right.
Yeah, there's actually go ahead.
Sorry. Did you guys ever go on the ride in Vegas? Did you ever get down to the Vegas to go on the ride? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We went on that one twice, where you're like transported onto the deck. Of course, it's the newer one though, but or the next generation get up. But that was a great one, or that was great, where you were able to get on the deck and see all the stuff flashing back and forth and have the people interacting with you like you were part of the crew. I don't know if they still got it or not, but that was wonderful.
They do not. They do not, sadly. So before we go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to interject on the end of that episode, the last line. Do you recall what the last line was that Kirk uttered? And I always thought the censors were so heavy, and it always amazed me that he got away with using a four-letter word on that show. And I always wondered, is that the first time that the censors allowed someone to say hell on TV? Because his line was, let's get the hell out of here. Which I thought was, oh man, that floored me. This is the best episode ever. So I'm right there with you, Dave, because he was pissed. What he had to go through, he knows, Doctor. He knows.
Yeah. I also, it was, I think probably the first, might have been the first thing I really remember seeing Joan Collins in, and she was excellent in that episode as a guest star. Yep. So, hey, I threw this comment on because our friend Danny Staten says, I hope you mention the Good Stuff special today. Danny has a new video out on his Daily Dan's Good Stuff channel where he talks about the good stuff, spends about 10 minutes waxing eloquently in the way that only Danny can about the good stuff. And Pat, I don't know if you've caught the video, but I think he hits a shout out for both your channel and Ian's channel, as well as mine and my brother Steve. So thank you, Danny. Folks, check out Danny's stuff. Always entertaining is what I have to say about Danny Staten. As a matter of fact, I have right here.
Huge fan of him.
Yeah, huge fan. Me as well. Let me take that off for a second there, because what I want to do is show, if I can find it here. That's the trick. Danny State. There we go. Here's his other channel, the Daily Dan Blog, which is one of my faves. And this is, I haven't watched another Angry Karen Flea Market Beast yet. I'm not sure where we're going with that one. I'm probably more excited about King Kong oldest movie merchandise. That looks like a lot of fun. The Bigfoot versus Frankenstein debate is going to be delightful as well. And one of the videos that I watched on his channel just recently was that Joe Palooka comic book review down there. Mm-hmm. And Danny wasn't a fan. And after walking through all the pages with Danny, I have to say I probably wouldn't be either. But the video was excellent. So check out all of Danny's channels. He is great. Let me do this too real quick. I'm going to go back to full screen here, somewhat full screen. And I've got you here. Ian, tell us a little bit about your channel. I'm going to throw it on the screen.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Retro Serial. We deal with growing up Generation X. I do 3 kinds of videos, kind of the shorter videos where, like the one right there, 3 unsuccessful cartoons based on successful movies. And then I do longer format podcasts, because I got a podcast too. So if you're interested, in driving in your car and listening to this, the one I did there was the post-apocalyptic film and TVs, you can see that. But then I also do a live stream, like you were saying, on Monday nights and sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Thursday. But I have a question about Star Trek. But I have a question. I really do have a question. Well, I have everybody here in our collective mind and the collective mind of YouTube. And it brought you, you had mentioned a 4-letter word. Well, there is another word. I got in trouble one time, and I swear, I was a little kid. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I repeated a word that I swore that I heard on Star Trek. And I don't know if it was really on Star Trek or not, if it was just my 4 or 5-year-old mind tricking me. But I said it, and it's not really a terribly bad word. It's not, I mean, it wouldn't, I don't know if it would get censored. I am going to say it here just so everybody knows. It's the word bastard. And I remember on Star Trek somebody saying "you bastard," and I said that, and my grandmother, what in the world? Where did you hear that? And I said, I heard it on Star Trek. And she goes, no, I don't believe you. I'm like, well, look, I'm 4. I mean, I'm just hanging out with you and watching TV. I mean, who else am I going to hear it from? So, do you guys remember that was said on that show, or was that
never happened?
Never happened.
Okay.
Ian, a great excuse though. Excellent excuse.
They said it on the Big Valley.
You know,
60 show. So
I remember it though, but you know how your brain can kind of trick you, especially when you're young. You know,
so I'm saying maybe your grandmother was watching the Big Valley. Maybe that's
I'm
pretty sure they said it on the Big Valley.
Oh, okay. All right. I knew that. I thought that I heard it on TV somewhere, and I thought
Dallas.
it was Star Trek. But
yeah, Dallas. Yeah.
Well, I was a little older when Dallas came out, so.
Hank, as long as we're going through channel reviews real quick, why don't you talk to us about what's going on your channel?
Do a lot of everything, but right now we're doing a Big Brother season 23 recap, and a Leftovers rewatch is still going on, starting season 3 next week.
Awesome. Looks like there's lots of rewatches going on right now.
Yeah.
And Pat, how about you? What I got to tell you, I just watched that top 5 favorite classic TV dads, and I love your number 1 choice.
But Dave, did you really love it?
I loved it. I loved it, dude. And so it's like, I can't believe it, but when I have created lists like that in the past, I've never thought to include that individual. And I don't want to say it because I want everybody to go to your channel and check out the video, because it's a great video.
Right. It dropped last week, and I got a lot of people thinking that I'd said my top 5 most ideal dads, which was not what it was. It was my top 5 favorite dads, meaning the ones that have entertained me the most on TV, which means all bets are off. Ward Cleaver would be like a no-brainer, but that's why he's not there. He just didn't really entertain me as much as the rest of the family. So But yeah, I'll leave that one that you're talking about. I know which one it is, off the list right now. And I just dropped one today, Dukes of Hazzard and their country music connection, which I found fascinating. I find all this stuff fascinating, and it's so easy to find tidbits, just little things that I write my short versions of what Dave does. And I'm elongating them here and there. They're averaging about 2.5 minutes now. Just finished airing. This will be the 20th of a 25 episode season. And then I will be pushing on,
Season 3, right? Isn't this season 3?
Yeah, this is my third season. And like I said, this one I ran 25. My second season playlist is 50. My first season is over 180. And then I also got a music playlist too, because I was big on that for a long time and kind of intermarried the classic TV theme songs with it. And so there's a lot to check out there. I just keep adding stuff. So yeah, never
of good stuff. Yep, never a dull moment. And Steve, I bet you, I've got yours here as well. So I have got to say, when I grabbed the screenshot earlier today, and I saw that the one up top there, the life and sad ending of Earl Tupper. Oh my gosh, I haven't watched it yet. I've got it in my watch later queue. But you got to tell me a little bit about that and how you came. How you came up with the idea to do one on the crew. I didn't even know Tupper was a guy.
Yeah, if you watch that, that'll be 2 minutes of your life you'll never get back. But that aside, I don't know. When you're retired like I am, you spend a lot of time on the computer. And I saw something about Earl Tupper, and I thought, Earl Tupper? Well, that's the guy that invented Tupperware. And I thought, like most people, you don't really think about there was actually, somebody that invented Tupperware. And it's his abbreviated story. It's somewhat comical. I mean, you have to watch it, take a grain of salt, tongue in cheek with that one.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to watch it. Now, Daryl Johnston says, Ian, that on Love of Life, I don't know, is that a show? That's not an episode of Trek. So on Love of Life, the word bastard is used from time to time. Oh, it's a daytime soap opera. Okay, There we go. Doesn't surprise me, Pat. Those daytime soap operas, the crap they get away with.
Well, I can give everybody a time frame. So this would have been like the 70s. This would have been before the 1980s. And I remember either being 4 or 5, somewhere around there. And so this would have been like 78, somewhere around there.
It could have been Dallas, right?
So yeah, something like that. I thought Dallas came out in the 80s though, but I could be wrong.
I think Keith Barkley got called a bastard on the at one point or other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, while we're talking about TV, we just have to take a minute. We have to do the Brady Bunch thing. We have to.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time with it. You're better at that than I am. I'm looking in all the wrong directions.
And Peter, the first season couldn't look straight. He was looking down when he was supposed to be looking straight.
All right, so let's do this real quick. There we go. Let me go to this. Which, yeah. Don't move, human. We'll be right back after this brief message. Oh, wait. Oh, I'll show it later. Never mind. Let's go to the messages.
The cholesterol levels of many Americans are too high, but for a group of people in New Jersey, cholesterol went down. They joined in a total dietary program to reduce cholesterol. Less fats, lean meats, egg and cheese substitutes, and highly polyunsaturated foods, including Promise margarine. Promise is highly polyunsaturated. The results? Their average cholesterol level went down. Down significantly. And Promise tastes like butter. Promise.
Time and space. These limitations affect us all. How can you conserve precious time and expand your working space? With an Edmonton Telephones beeper. an inexpensive way to keep in touch for important calls and messages while you're away from home or office. If you're needed, you'll know instantly, and no one needs to know where you are. Edmonton Telephones, your total communications company, will save you time and money. Call Edmonton Telephones now. Tell them Leonard Nimoy gave you the message.
Hello out there. I'm Mr. Sulu of Star Trek. When I'm out in space, I use the Starship Enterprise to get around. When I'm here in Milwaukee, I ride the bus to save time and money. Your $5 weekly pass is a great buy. Your bus tickets, the greatest. Take it from a man who knows. Your Milwaukee County transit system is really out of this world.
Come ride with us on the bus.
Science and nature. How many chambers are there in a human heart?
How should I know? I'm an actor, not a doctor.
The Trivial Pursuit 10th Anniversary Edition. Is anyone not playing this game?
Hi, I'm Chris, and this is Anna with MCI. She recently started a great friends and family calling circle.
A group of friends that wanted to get back in touch.
I believe I actually said we should resume communicating.
And Anna called me.
Then I signed up.
I joined next.
Then she called me. Then him. She obviously saved the best for last.
Oh, that's why she called me next. I believe you're in the wrong circle. Who's that? There seems to be some error.
Call and start saving an extra 20% on calls to your own friends and family circle.
Here we go. Let's go back here for just a second. So I gotta say, I don't know if anybody else caught the line, but I love in that beeper commercial where Nimoy says, "And no one needs to know where you are." That's one of the things I actually hate about having a cell phone with me all the time, and the whole Find My Friends feature. And if you have an Android device, there's a number of different apps you can get to, and there's nowhere I can go in this world that my wife can't pull up her phone and see exactly where I am.
Well, are you doing anything you shouldn't be doing? I mean, you know.
No, but still, you know, man, he appreciates his anonymity and his ability to just kind of go under the radar from time to time.
All right.
It's a good question, though, Steve. Good question. I probably should think about that a little bit more.
I know
All
I
right.
have to lock
Go
my
ahead.
phone. I know I have to lock my phone in the locker if I want to go buy some donuts. So have to pay cash and.
That's McDonald's for me.
I'm
Ian.
kidding.
That's McDonald's for me. All right. So here we go. Let's do this. Oh, you know what I wanted to show? I wanted to show everybody this beforehand and then totally blew it. So one of the reasons that it's not the reason that City on the Edge of Forever is one of my favorites, but I got to share the Andy Griffith connection, the whole Floyd's T-shirt connection, which is this. And a sharp eye will see Captain Kirk and Edith Keeler walking on by the Floyd's barbershop. And that's because, it was Desilu Studios production, which they shared production lots with the Andy Griffith Show. And
Yeah, that was a
every once in a
40-acre
while-
backlot.
Yeah.
That's
every
what they
once in a
call
while
it.
you'd see similar, you'd see scenes in Star Trek that you could pick out as, hey, that looks a lot like Mayberry.
Yeah, Mary. The episode Mary happens.
Yes.
In Mayberry.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's do this, folks. We're hitting the hour mark, probably not moving as quickly as one would like. And to any of my guests, if you need to drop at any time, I will not consider it rude, but stick around as long as you can, because we're going to do a little Star Trek trivia, and we'll just see how quickly we can get through this. Question 1 out of 10. And don't answer immediately. Guess, because let's let folks in the chat, in the community, answer and kind of think through what their response would be, and then we'll talk about what we think the answer is. Question number 1. What actor from Star Trek lost his ability to flip the bird during World War II? Right middle finger, gone. Was it James Doohan, DeForest Kelley, Walter Koenig, or George Takei? So we'll let folks answer in the chat. And let's see how everybody does. And then about every third question or so, we'll have folks self-report their score. But you know what? I saw a lot of oh my's when George Takei showed up on that Milwaukee bus commercial. Sadly, I don't think at that point, that was probably early 80s that he did that commercial for Milwaukee Transit Association. I don't think he had come up with his trademark catchphrase. It's too darn bad. Would have loved to have heard it.
Those were Kirk's last words. Oh my. If you remember in the crossover movie.
Oh, that's right. In Generations.
Yeah.
Is that what he says?
Those were his last words.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that. I did not realize that. I think I've only seen Generations once. I don't know if I've revisited that show again.
Oh, you should. It's so good. It's worth a second watch, Dave, for sure.
I enjoyed it the first time. I don't know why I haven't gone back, but I have watched First Contact a number of times. But
you like the way Kirk dies in that? You like that?
I was one of the few guys in the theater actually crying at that part.
I
was kind of embarrassed, and I'm like, that was me.
You know what's crazy is I like the Next Generation TV show, but I could not get into the movies. I actually like the original movies better than the Next Generation movies. So,
I love those original series movies. I thought they were great as well.
I thought they were good. I like 3 especially, which is kind of weird because everyone thinks the second one, but the Genesis Project one I thought was phenomenal. I loved that show.
I was more of an even numbered guy. 2, 4, and 6 are my favorites.
For me, Star Trek: The Motion Picture is the worst film ever.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you on that.
Yeah,
and there's a reason because I waited in line 4 hours to see it.
Oh.
And so
and then it felt like another 4 hours to watch it.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's why. I've never watched it again. I've never seen it again.
I've watched it multiple times and always wanted to like it more than I actually did.
Yeah.
Did you know they consulted Stephen King on writing that movie, and he walked out of the project?
Did not know that.
I can see why.
Did not know that. Well, we've got a question about that in a minute, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I was tempted to bring up some trivia, but I shan't. Let's do this. It looks like we lost Ian for a minute, but anybody, my esteemed guests, want to give an answer to this one? Pat.
Answer. James Doohan.
James.
Yep, James Doohan is the correct answer. Mr. Scott. They did throughout the filming of the original version of Trek. They did their best, much like they did with Gary Berghoff in MASH, to obscure that missing finger. Berghoff had a deformity with his hand, and they would often hide Berghoff stuff with a clipboard, that kind of thing. And in the case of James Doohan and his character, they just creative filming, certain angles that most of the time they obscured the fact that finger was missing. But, I don't know if it's anything I think it's knowing how he lost it in service to his country. It's nothing to hide. Nothing to hide at all.
Didn't he serve in the Canadian forces?
Yes, and he was decorated. And that was storming the beaches, and they even have him as taken out a couple of Nazi snipers in that same raid. He was a pro when it came down to it. And I don't think you noticed his hand so much in that show because there was so much else to see.
Yeah.
And let's face it, part of the beauty of Star Trek, the original series, was the way they lit that show. I mean, they started it. They started mood lighting for TV series. And now you watch it again and just think about that facet. Just about every frame is a work of art. Because of the amount of time that they spent on getting the sets lit and with every color you can imagine and all the vibe. Nobody's going to notice him missing his middle finger, because it's eye candy in every other way. So,
So before we go any further, before I forget, I have to ask if any of you guys watch Star Trek Continues, the fan-based films that are on YouTube.
Yeah. Now,
What are your thoughts?
We're talking about they are the original series characters played by other people, correct?
Yeah, Vic Mignola is the guy that plays Kirk. Obviously it's different because you have different actors playing the characters, but talking about sets and lighting and recreating the feeling of Trek, boy, is that great.
Perfection. It was the guy who played the captain. I don't know what his name is, but
Vic Mignola.
In my understanding. And what happened was they were able to, since there were no television censors, they were able to make it racy.
Yeah.
I mean, full on, like, not full on sex scenes or anything, but to the point where it's like they were able to take that, were not censored, and create a humorous scenario for these characters that were always, obviously so, contrived. What the word? Somebody give me the word. Contained for the actual TV show. So
yeah,
I loved it.
Awesome. Let's go to the next question. Question number 2. What is Lieutenant Uhura's first name? Ariana, Erica, Kiana, or Neoda? Neoda, I should say, I think is the way I would pronounce that if I were to pronounce it. Doc Savage asks, while we're waiting, Doc Savage asks, didn't Paramount crack down on fan films? To a certain extent, they did. And I believe that this crew even ran into some issues with Paramount. But they are back up on YouTube. And I think the key with the fan films is you really have to demonstrate that you're not trying to make any money off of them. And you are also you have to be careful with the property and that you're not doing any damage to the property. So it's a great, great show. Star Trek Continues has guests like Lou Ferrigno on it. I believe Aaron Gray made an appearance on it. There's just a bunch of great actors that have been on that show over the course of, I think it ran 8 or 9 episodes. And then it takes a lot of money to do that. Oh, they had Chris Doohan, son of James Doohan, playing Scotty on the show.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're all out there on YouTube, so if you get a chance, I'd encourage you to watch it.
Didn't Takei make an appearance on one of those? I'm thinking.
I'm not sure if he made it on that fan film, but he has made appearances on fan films as well. I think, I think Walter Koenig has as well as Chekhov on a couple of different fan films. Anyway, Jack, Steve, or Ian, we'll give you first shot at this one. Any of you want to?
I have no idea. Erica?
I think it's Neoda.
You think it's Neoda?
Yeah.
Let's see what the correct answer is. Neoda's correct. And by the way, that was never shared on the original version of Star Trek. I believe the first time they shared her name was in the updated version of Star Trek with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Really?
The way, great. Loved it.
I agree. I love those movies.
Great. Love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
Fantastic work.
Yep. All right, question 3. In the city on the edge of forever, what will happen? Oh, man. I gave the answer to this one. Okay, folks, this is how well did you listen to me? What will happen if Edith Keeler lives a full life? Dr. McCoy doesn't exist. Humanity will perish. The Nazis will win World War II. Or, Pat or Ian, I'm taking a cue from your recent post-apocalyptic videos you've been doing. Zombie apocalypse. I'm not even going to wait for everybody to answer because I know you all heard me. Oh, what'd I do? I clicked on the wrong one. That's not right.
What?
That was not right.
I really wasn't listening.
Oh my gosh, I got a little sloppy as I was selecting the right answers. Yep, I'll have to, before I put this on my trivia channel, I'll have to fix that. Correct answer is Nazis will win World War 2. Before we go to question number 4, let's see how folks are doing. Eric Dunn looks like, or Tracy Roth Myers is 3 of 3. Eric Draven looks like he's got all 3. Or he picked the third one, I should say, on that answer. I don't know your actual score yet, Eric, but Tom Lavelle is 3 of 3. We've got some Star Trek fans here with us tonight for sure. Elf Dog 100 is 3 of 3. Paul Rotter is 3 of 3. Mr. Led, 3 of 3. Dolph Quick, 3 of 3. Nick Mamonis, great to have you here, Nick. 3 of 3. Matt Sweeney, 3 of 3. Georgia Ayers, I hope I said hello to you earlier, Georgia. Always a treat to have you here. 2 of 3. Yeah, Danny, you know what? Got a little sloppy there. Got to fix that. Custom Gods, 3 of 3. Tom Hungry Jerk is 3 of 3. Let's see. Rob Bacon, always great to have you here. Good to have you here for the end of the trivia. We got 7 more questions to go. Mike D's only 2 of 3. Didn't know about Doohan's finger. Ed Myers is 3 of 3. Raja 1938. Where are you? There you are. 3 of 3. John Stemmer, 3 of 3. Chris Kraft, 3 of 3. Lee Banning, 3 of 3. And Spike Spikerson says, super fan. Spike Spikerson says, there's only been 3. I got at least 5 right. John Collins says, 1 of 3. Dave, did you know that Nichelle Nichols was actually involved with NASA? Yes, and there is a new documentary that's coming out regarding her work that she's doing, or has done with NASA. And I got to say, for those of you that are following what's going on with Nichelle Nichols, there's kind of a little bit of sadness right now too, as there's a lot of legal wrangling going on around caretakers and her estate and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, you know what? Life sometimes sucks as you get older, and it's always great to be able to surround yourself with people that love you and that you trust. And I'm worried for her right now. I hope everything goes well.
Yeah.
I'm going to doubt that this is going to be on your trivia, but did you know that her brother, do you have anything on here about her brother or no?
No, sir.
No, her brother was one of the people who killed himself in the Hale-Bopp comet cult.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy
It's
cow.
a tragedy. Yeah, a lot of tragedy
is
in
a
that
tragedy.
woman's life.
How old was he?
I don't remember how old he was. I just I think he was younger than her, though. I do know that. I do believe that. But yeah.
Darn it. Alrig is 2 of 3. Time Lord says live long and prosper. Danny Staten says, if you can stump me on Star Trek trivia, I will be amazed. Well, I'm going to do my best, Danny. Let's see how this plays out, my friend. Tom says that Nichelle was promoting the space shuttle. Yeah, she had a lot to do with that. And I think that might be it for scores right now. So let's go ahead and move forward with the next question. I hope I get the answers correct going forward. That was a bit of an embarrassment. What role did Majel Barrett first play on Star Trek? Oh, we're not sharing the screen. Let's do this. What role did Majel Barrett first play on Star Trek? Was it Christine Chappell, Edith Keeler, number 1, or who the heck is Majel Barrett? She is Gene Roddenberry's, or was Gene Roddenberry's wife. What was that, Pat?
Mrs. Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll let folks answer that question for a minute.
The key word here is first play.
Yeah, first play.
Because she actually had 2 roles.
Oh.
3 roles.
Yeah. 3,
Sure.
yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she had 3 roles on Star Trek. Actually, no. If you count The Next Generation, she had 4 roles on Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
The voice
you know where I'm going, right, Pat?
The voice of the computer.
Yes, it's not on there, but yeah, she was the voice of the computer both on the original series as well as, I don't know, was it in Next Generation as well or just the original series?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and the animated series. Let's see. Steve or Jack, who wants to give a guess on this one?
Well, I'm going to say, like in The Cage, she played number 1.
Correct. Nicely done. Nicely done. the original pilot, right?
Right.
For Star Trek before Captain Kirk, there was Christopher Pike, Mr. Spock, and Number One. So,
right.
Well done. Well done. Let's go to the next question. Which actor did not reprise his role on the animated version of Star Trek? Was it DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, George Takei, or Walter Koenig?
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they all did.
No.
That's
Unfortunately, the budget didn't allow. Because it was a Saturday morning show, the budget did not allow for all of the cast, the main characters, to return. And there were actually two actors, one of them's listed here, that did not return. And we'll talk more about it in a minute. Any of you guys want to guess on this one? Or
I'll say Walter.
Jack says Walter.
Yeah, he's a little bitter, isn't he?
He always got the short end of the stick, so
yeah,
he did. Walter Koenig was not invited back for the animated series, as was Nichelle Nichols. Uhura was not there. If you remember, I don't know if any of you watched the animated series, but there's a Lieutenant Maress, who's like a feline communications officer.
Oh, that's right.
No Uhura in the animated series, and the reason being is they just did not have the money. Now, they did offer Walter as kind of a olive branch for leaving him out of the animated series. They allowed him to write an episode, and he wrote one of the episodes. I'm not sure, I can't remember the title, but he wrote one of the episodes of the animated series, and that allowed him to have a little bit of income while that show was on Saturday morning TV.
Yeah.
Question 6, and then we'll check scores. What is Captain Kirk's middle name? Is it Tanner, Tiberius, Tobias, or Tyler? We won't wait long on this one. This one's kind of like the proverbial free spot in the middle of bingo. I think most folks will get this one correctly. Wait. Raja 1938 says, sorry, Dave, but Uhura was on the animated series. I am.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right. That is a mistake on my part. But was it Nichelle Nichols who voiced the character? I know wonder if you guys can help me on that.
There was controversy because I think Takei and one of the others took a stand that they wouldn't do it without her. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of how it went. Some people there was the stand taken, but I don't remember for which actor. But I think it was on her behalf.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? Obviously, I'm wrong on that. And the first zombie apocalypse and now this. But thank you, Raja 1938, for correcting me on that. And I need to go back and watch the animated series again, because even in my head, I can see the animated version of her. But I was thinking that she was excluded from that. Was it? That even makes the slight, even worse if it was just Walter Koenig that wasn't invited back for the animated series.
I think there's a name missing here too, Dave. There's a name because there was a separate middle name, or I should say initial, that was used for Captain Kirk in the pilot Where No Man Has Gone Before episode.
Yeah, It wasn't T, was it?
No, it was R.
Wow.
So initially he was to be James Roy Kirk. And for some reason that just got changed.
It got changed to, Pat, go ahead and tell the answer.
Tiberius, of course.
Yeah.
Which is much cooler than Roy.
Yeah, so much cooler than Roy. So much cooler than Roy.
Right, but if you watch that episode, and there's a gravestone that his buddy had already made up for him, and you'll notice it says, "Here lies James R. Kirk, Captain of the Enterprise," something like that. So,
all right, sorry to cover you there up, Ian, but I wanted to get folks that were correcting me on that. It's great when you have the community there to make sure that you deliver correct information. And then it's awesome to have folks like Pat here to share trivia tidbits like James R. Kirk. I remembered that there was one episode where he wasn't James T. Kirk, but for the life of me, without looking it up, I couldn't remember which one and what it was. So thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. All right. So let's see scores real quick. Let me go out. Pat, score one for Pat. Bonus points for Pat on that one.
Yeah, bonus point for Pat.
Bonus points for Pat. So let's see the scores so far. Let me scroll down here and see if I can't get some scores. I'm seeing lots of folks getting Tiberius right. Like I said, I'm going to quickly, let's see, 6 of 6 for Christopher Kraft. Wow. Nicely done, my friend. Yes, you're right. Nimoy also threatened to withdraw if she wasn't hired. Love it. Love it when there's that kind of loyalty. Elf Dog, 106 of 6. Let's see. Tom Lavelle, 6 of 6. Tracy Rothmeyer, super fan. Tracy Rothmeyer. That's a new picture, by the way, Tracy. You're a little further back than what I'm used to seeing on your picture there, but 5 of 6. Great score. George's 4 of 6. Let's see who else we got here. Lots of scores. Mr. Led 4 of 6. Dolph Quick 6 of 6. Ulrich 5 of 6. Let's see. Mike D 3 of 6. Nick Mamonas 6 of 6. Hungry Jerk, aka Tom, 5 of 6. John Stemmer 5 of 6. Ed Meyer 6 of 6. Custom God 6 of 6. Eric Draven 6 of 6. No, excuse me, 5 of 6. Raja 1938 6 of 6. John Collins 2 of 6. We love you regardless as well, John. You know what? I'm like -2 as well today, rolling. I'm not doing all that well with my. Right. I should have brushed up a little bit more on this before having Trek, because there's a lot of Trek experts out there. Lee Banning is 6 of 6. Doc Savage is 6 of 6. Terrell Bellinger 6 of 6. Terrell, good to have you here. I thought I saw a comment earlier from you, but boy, things were just flying by so fast I wasn't able to catch it. Mal Havoc 6 of 6. Wyatt Mann 6 of 6, and I think we're pretty much caught up. Superfan Spike Spikerson looks like 4 of 6. Did I get everyone? I think I did. Close to everyone. If I missed anyone, I sincerely apologize. Let's go to the next question. All right. Question 7. We're going to just work our way through to the 10, and then we'll get final scores. What network was Star Trek on? ABC, CBS, NBC, or PBS? Steve, you were there. Yeah, folks, I'm going to give everybody about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to have Steve, who was the only guy that watched it live when it was on.
Yeah.
Or Jack, did you say you caught it live as well during the primetime run?
Yeah, but I guess I was wrong because I'm looking at the chat. I thought it was another network. Okay.
Well, you might be right. You never know. You never know. But Steve, I'm going to have you go ahead and give a guess on this one.
Well, back in the day, of course, you only had the 3 networks basically at that time. So it's easy. It's NBC.
Was offered to CBS first, if I remember correctly, but they passed on it because they had Lost in Space already. They were working on that project.
I was going to say CBS.
Yep. All right, question 8 out of 10. What TV series project morphed into Star Trek: The Motionless Picture? Someone said that earlier in the chat, and I love that. Star Trek: The Motionless Picture. There wasn't a lot of action in the Star Trek: The Motion Picture, that's for sure. But there was a TV series that was being worked on. It was actually it was well along in its development. And then they took that TV project and transitioned it into Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It was all because of Star Wars and the glut of, or the momentum of all those science fiction shows in the late 70s, that Paramount said, hey, we've got to have our own big budget series of movies, and we need a franchise. So Star Trek was called upon to do that. So was the title Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek New Voyages, Star Trek Phase 2, or Star Trek Returns?
Is that the one where they originally called it Star Trek Revenge, and then they realized that they didn't
No.
take.
So
No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
Actually, Ian, you mentioned that, but the original title of, let's see, Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi was originally going to be called
The Revenge of the
Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they changed it.
They changed it. They actually changed it twice. It was originally a lot of people don't know this, but it was originally going to be called Return of the Jedi. He changed it to Revenge of the Jedi, put out all kinds of posters, of which I had some memorabilia of at one time, and then changed it back to Return when they decided that Jedis don't take revenge.
Right.
So there was a little flip-flop.
The Star Trek connection is I think somewhere along the way, Return of the Jedi and Wrath of Khan roughly are around the same time frames. I think like 82, 83. Mm-hmm. And they were both projects were in the works, in development. At one point, Wrath of Khan was going to be called The Revenge of Khan, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. But then once they got word that Revenge of the Jedi was going to be the title of Star Wars, they changed it to The Wrath of Khan, and then George Lucas changed the name to Return of Khan or Return of the Jedi, so they could have kept it. But anyway, let's do this. Before I give an answer, I want to make sure I get my super chat, get the recognition there. I saw a super chat. I want to hit it. It was Larry Potter. He says, I thought I was a big fan of Trek, and I knew in the pilot it was James R. Kirk, but Pat got me because I didn't know it was James Roy Kirk. You know what? It takes a lot to pull one over on Pat McCormick. I got to say that.
Yeah, and I may be, as he's typing that and giving me these kudos, I'm like, James Roy Kirk. Wait a minute, that's the guy that invented the Changeling, the robot. Who he mistaked for Captain James T. Kirk. So quite frankly, it's not Roy, it's R. I don't know what the R stood for. But fortunately, I was able to dig myself out of that before.
Good job.
Disclaimer.
Well, it's a night of mistakes, and Pat, I think you should have just stuck with that one. I don't think anyone was going to call you on that one.
I know, but I got to live with myself, Dave. I've got to sleep.
I was going to look it up after this episode, make sure.
Yeah, we'd be getting emails from Jack later on tonight. Hey, that Pat, he's crazy. No one ever knows what that R is stood for. Hey, Larry, thank you for the support. And Pat, now's your time to go get a beverage or step away for just a second, because here it comes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me.
Oh, sorry.
It feels that was too short. Hang on one second. We need
Very, very, very much.
I love that song. That's a great
I'm gonna learn to play that on the guitar. And the next time I'm on, I am gonna play it as you're playing it. I'll play the acoustic version.
I'm holding you to that, my friend. I won't ask Pat.
Let's hope it's in the same key. But
Pat's all shook up there. Take it easy, Pat. It'll be all right.
Well, thank you very much, Larry Potter, and everyone else who's dropped super chats tonight. Truly appreciated. Let's get to the questions where, once again, I'm getting sidetracked. So anybody want to answer this question? Anybody think they know the answer?
I would guess New Voyages. That's the best title of all of them, but I don't know.
It is the best title, but it's not the correct title.
Oh, okay.
It's Phase 2.
Really?
Yes. Phase 2 is the correct title.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing. Phase 2, while it was in development as a TV series, had Decker in it, and had Stephen Collins as Decker, and had Persis Kambata as Lieutenant Ilea. What it didn't have, and what they were unable to get until the budget increased and became a full-fledged motion picture, was there was no Mr. Spock. Nimoy was holding out. And it was only when it became a motion picture, that a movie, that they were able to come up with the necessary dinero to get Leonard Nimoy on board. Question 9. How many times did Khan appear during the original series run? 1, 2, 4, or 7?
1.
We're going to let people answer for just a second before I actually say, but I will log that. Jack says 1 potentially, with kind of a question marky kind of response. 1.
I didn't want to be.
They were going to do a spinoff. Khan was going to have his own series.
Is that true? Was there plans for that? Because I know that Assignment Earth with Gary Seven, that was a backdoor pilot.
That's
I don't know if you guys remember that episode.
What's her name? Terry Garr.
Right.
Yeah, Terry Garr was in that one. Yep, that would have been. I actually would have liked seeing that as a full-fledged TV series. It would have been cool. Lots of folks are in agreement with you, Jack. So let's go with 1. 1 is the correct answer. Now, here's the question: how many episodes did Harcourt Fenton Mudd appear in?
3.
Well, if you count the animated series, Ian, we will give you credit. 2 live action, and then there was an animated episode as well. Yep, Mud's Women and I Mud were the 2 episodes in the live action version.
I'm Mud. Great title.
I cannot remember what the title was in the animated series.
Good old Roger Carmel.
Yep. What character joined the show at the beginning of the 2nd season? Was it Hikaru Sulu, Janice Rand, Nyota Uhura, or Pavel Chekhov?
Oh, we know this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad everybody knows. We'll let folks put their answer in there. Then we'll get final scores. While we do
we got additional trivia on this answer too.
Do we? Okay, hang on one second.
Sure we do.
I want to get to this right here. This comment from my friend Danny Staten, who says, my grandmother used to make me watch Lawrence Welk on Sunday nights before The Wonderful World of Disney came on. And Pat, you'll be happy to know that it makes Danny cringe to see that.
It made him the Bigfoot hunter he is today.
That's right. All right. What was the other trivia there you're talking about, Ian?
Well, you got to answer the question first. So people.
Okay, we need to answer the question first. Steve, you want to give the answer on this one?
What was the question?
I'm old. What character joined the show at the beginning of the 2nd season?
Oh, that was Chekhov.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brought him on board. I believe the idea was to a little more youth in the cast.
They wanted them to look like the monkeys.
That's exactly right, Ian.
But that's not the additional trivia, though. That's not the additional trivia.
Well, what's the additional trivia, Ian?
The additional trivia is he recognizes Khan in the Wrath of Khan. And he knew, the actor knew that if he said, hey, I wasn't there in season 1, they would have just written him out. So he just kept his mouth shut. And so when Khan was introduced in season 1, he didn't come until season 2. But in the movie, he recognizes them, which was anachronistic. And so he just said, oh, well, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut so I don't get written out of this part. The movie, yeah.
Yeah, with everything that happened to Walter with the animated series, I don't blame him. Smart man. Man.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this. Let's share final scores. Let me put up this fine picture of Lieutenant Uhura. Everybody, I want to see your scores here in the comments or in the chat here. So let's see. I see Tracy Roth Myers got 8 of 10. Tom got 7 of 10. Tom, the other Tom, got 8 of 10. Al Oduardi got 9 of 10. Impressive, Al. Very impressive. Paul Rotter got 8 out of 10. And let's see. Oh, I'm sorry you're so late. You're going to have to catch this great live stream. This has been one of my favorite live streams ever. Catch it on the replay. I'll make sure that it's available for the next 30 days or so. Let's see. Yeah. Doc Savage says Chekhov never really met Khan. Nicely done. Mr. Led, 7 of 10. Georgia Ayers, obviously a Trekkie, 8 of 10. John Stemmer, 9 of 10. Citizen Not says, hey, Pat, great to see you, Pat. Elf Dog, 100. 8 of 10. Nick Momonis got 9 of them right. Ulrich got 8 of them right. Terrell got 9 of them right. And here we go. Raja,
Good job, Terrell.
1938. 10 of 10.
10 of
Wyatt
10.
Man, 10
That's
of
good.
10.
That's good.
Mike D got 6 of 10. Ed Myers got 9 of 10. And Christopher Kraft from Southern California, 10 of 10. Yay is the correct way to describe that. Dolph Quick, 10 of 10 as well. I don't think I saw your score, Thomas. I expect you to be right up there as well. Eric Draven was 9 of 10. Daryl Johnston, 9 of 10. Let's see who else we got here. Did I see John Collins? 4 of 10. Superfan John Collins, 4 of 10. What streaming network does Star Trek The Next Generation play on? You can catch all episodes on the Paramount Plus network. And like I said, I believe you can catch Next Generation on HNI, which is an over-the-air network. You can watch it for free. So that's another option for you if you don't want to pay the big bucks for the streaming networks. Other scores, let's see. I saw Lee Banning was 9 of 10. And Dapper Canuck was 7 of 9. Must have missed a question somewhere along the way. Stepped away for a moment. Doc Savage, congratulations. 10 of 10. Custom God, 9 of 10. Tom Lavelle says, congratulations to all folks that were 10 of 10 tonight. Mike D says, I wish I could say I got 7 of 9. Ever is a feller I know named Evan Sundstrom. So Evan Sundstrom got 11 of 10. I'm going to quiz you about that, my dear son, after we're all done, and see how you did that. Especially since I did not know that you were a huge Trek fan. But thanks for popping in, Evan. It's fun to see that comment in the chat. Let's see. Do we have anyone else? White Man, we got that one. 7 of 9. I think I got most. Oh, Lee Banning says that you can also watch Trek The Next Generation on Amazon Prime Video. Dolph Quick says, play thank you very much. I want to see Pat go nuts one more time. I can't do it. I love Pat too much to have that happen tonight. Here's what I'll do though, because I've got another super chat from Larry. He says, I had to buy this again to tell you to read Grace Lee Whitney's book, Amazing Grace. Highly recommended. She's truly in heaven. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take that $5, and if it's available on Kindle, I'm going to use it to buy it tonight, Larry Potter. So thank you very much. And here's what I'm going to do. I can't do it to Pat. I won't do it to Pat. We will do this.
You're dynamite!
There we go. That's dynamite, Larry. Thank you so much for that support. Truly appreciated. Let's see. I think that about does it for the scores. So let me go here. And guys, I think we have pretty much done all the damage we can do tonight. I want to thank each one of you for joining me. It's been an absolute treat. Steve Tevis from The Life and Sad Ending. Crazy Hank, a.k.a. my friend Jack. Always a treat to have you with us. Ian from Retro Serial, and Pat McCormick from the Golden Rage of Television, just Golden Rage of Television. And he is winding down season 3, folks. If you haven't checked out his stuff, you got to check out his stuff. It's phenomenal. But what am I saying? All of these guys create tremendously wonderful content. I know that just as I went and captured screenshots of their channels today, I saw a handful of videos that are, quite frankly, what I'm going to watch and listen to as I wind down this evening. So thanks to everyone. I do need to remind everybody.
Hey folks, if you're enjoying this live stream, be like the Fonz and give it a thumbs up. Hey.
Hey, to all you Trekkies out there, May the force be with you.
Hey.
Oh, Ian. I classed it up with the Fonz, and you did that?
I had to do it.
Yeah, folks, give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel or any of the channels of these fellers right here, I will put links to all of their channels in the description section of the replay of this video. Please go and do it and make our evening. And thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you all.
Talk to you all soon.
Thanks. Nice talking with you guys.
Bye, guys.